Welcome, everyone. We're happy to see you for the inaugural session of our online series and conference on innovation leadership in Africa. We're excited to have this opportunity to highlight and celebrate the leaders and innovations that are transforming Africa today and into the future. I'm Dr. Karina R. Jensen, professor in OB Leadership and Innovation at UM6P Africa Business School, and I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Rob Sheffield, Director of Blue Green Learning, and we'll serve as the presenters for this online session. We're co-leaders of global research and practice at the Innovation Leadership Special Interest Group of ISPIM, the International Society for Professional Innovation Management. Before we get started, we'd like to mention our co-sponsors of the special series, UM6P Africa Business School and ISPIM, and also talk a bit about the role of innovation leadership. And UM6P, University Mohammed VI Polytechnique, Africa Business School are leading university and business school in Morocco that serve as catalysts in transforming leaders and organizations for the future of work in Africa and beyond.
Thanks, Karina. And hello, everyone. It's good to meet you. I'm Rob Sheffield, as Karina said, a co-leader of our Innovation Leadership Group. And let's tell you a little bit more about this wider network called ISPIM. So ISPIM is a global network founded in 1983. It's the oldest and largest global innovation network of researchers and practitioners, over 3,800 members coming from more than 100 countries. So it's big, has a lot of impact. And within ISPIM, we have set up an Innovation Leadership Special Interest Group, formed in 2019 to look at the role of leadership in facilitating innovation, with the purpose really of empowering leaders to inspire, connect, and engage people to drive innovation and create greater impact. So I guess it's also important maybe to distinguish innovation leadership from innovation management. Lots of work around that area too. But we, in our innovation leadership group, we really don't do so much work around the process of the innovation project, but we really are interested in how leaders develop both themselves and other people in terms of mindsets, behaviors, skills to enable and accelerate the innovation performance. So let's say a bit about how we define innovation leadership. So we see it as a practice to inspire and enable people, teams, organizations, and ecosystems to create and innovate throughout the whole innovation cycle, from exploration to exploitation of value, and really from concept to market. And we're focused on a sustainable innovation process with a long-term view to deliver value for today's global and digitally connected environment. Maybe I'll drop that into the comments section soon so you can see it. Couple of examples of recent projects from us from this innovation leadership group. So in the last 12 months, we've developed a competency framework for innovation leaders around the world. We've also published a book called Innovation Leadership in Practice. And both of these gather together and share, we think, valuable insights for leading and transforming ideas into value in a changing world. Both projects are also structured around mindsets, knowledge, and skills, so the capabilities needed, but also at different levels. So how these innovation leaders really look after themselves and renew themselves, how they galvanize teams, how they build capabilities for organizations and for ecosystems. Okay, Karina, back to you.
The emerging role of innovation leadership in Africa. So for this inaugural session on developing new mindsets for leading innovation, we'll enjoy an exchange with impressive leaders that are driving innovation in Morocco and Africa. Our guest speakers will share their perspectives and experience on leading initiatives around leadership development and growth in Africa and beyond. We have our distinguished guest speakers from OCP Group, a leading multinational firm in phosphates based in Morocco, focused on soil nutrition for farmers in Africa and around the globe. With the message, feed the soil to feed the world, OCP is transforming sustainable growth in supporting the UN SDGs, especially around alleviating poverty and eradicating hunger. So we'd like to welcome Mehdi Filali, SVP of West Africa with OCP Africa, Min Khalis, Head of Integration Office at the Talent and Development Group, OCP, and Meriam Benazouz, Head of Learning Custom Programs with the Talent and Development Group at OCP. And finally, we have our special guest speaker, Dr. Amin Belemli, Dean of Faculty Affairs at Africa Business Schools and Head of the Excellence Center, Leading Transformations in Africa. So we'll enjoy a discussion with our guest speakers and then open it up to the audience for Q&A. So I'd like to remind you, everyone who's out there, to please write your comments in the section during the session, and we'll pick those up at the end of this initial discussion. And we look forward to hearing from you and enjoy a very insightful and inspirational exchange. So I'd like to get started then and with our guest speakers, ask an initial question, maybe request or ask you to tell us more about your current role and how you view innovation leadership. And maybe we can start with Mehdi Filali.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you. So my name is Mehdi Filali. I am Senior Vice President West Africa at OCP Group. So in that regard, I am working on, developing the activities of OCP Africa in this region of the world. OCP Africa is a subsidiary of OCP Group. It has been created to support the agricultural transformation of the continent, because we are not only supplying fertilizers, but we are working sustainably on the transformation of value chain of agriculture through very structured projects in terms of R&D, in terms of farmer-centric approach to support farmers to improve their agronomic practices, to have access to various kind of inputs, and also to be integrated in a virtuous ecosystem. So in that regard, we have different subsidiaries in the region. We have one in Senegal, one in Côte d'Ivoire, one in Benin, one in Cameroon, in Ghana, Burkina Faso, and also Nigeria. And all those subsidiaries have R&D teams, agronomic teams, supply chain, commercial and development teams to support our activities, not only in those countries, but also in the countries that can be served and that are, from those countries as hubs. So this is what I can say as introduction.
And what are your thoughts about innovation leadership in that respect?
I think innovation leadership is key, and I think that in Africa, by default, our young people are very innovative. We can see, all of us, we can see, for example, some kids that are creating toys from almost nothing, or young people that are even building cars with the recycled parts and components. We have this innovative spirit, and we are, I think, very resourceful. Our young people are very resourceful. If you compare, for example, to Europe or US, or I would say other North countries and developed countries, if you have a household equipment that is damaged, it's impossible to fix it. If it's a coffee machine or hair dryer or TV, you will replace it, you will change it. In Africa, we are fixing almost everything because of this very innovative approach. We are also our young people have the sense of entrepreneurship by default. We can see, and even our people, we can see, for example, just if you have a red flight in some big cities like Abidjan or Dakar, quickly we'll have some people coming trying to sell some stuff, all kind of stuff. So they know how to take this opportunity, and we know how to take this opportunity. Now, if we want to empower this entrepreneurship and this let's say innovative brain, it should be done through technology access, and especially by developing and empowering these young people in terms of artificial intelligence, in terms of digital transformation, and also empowering them in terms of knowing how to finance, let's say, to have access, to improve the access of finance to their project. In that regard, we have been developing at OCP Africa several projects to empower young people and to enable them to develop some startups in agri-tech, because agriculture is our sector as OCP Africa. And I will give two examples. One is the Farming Innovation Program that we have been launching in Côte d'Ivoire and Senegal. And the idea of this Farmer Innovation Program is an incubator for young people to develop their startups in agri-tech, leveraging on the ecosystem of UM6P that has been developed. And this program is very successful. The second program I would highlight is the Digital Farming School. The Digital Farming School is a school that is training young people to develop agri-tech startups. It's an innovation in the world and in Africa, and we are building the first school in Côte d'Ivoire. It will be ready in few months. It's almost 80% of progress. And this school is, beside this school, there is an experimental platform, an experimental farm where the students can test their project and learn and go back to the school and adjust their project. And it's especially to develop this agri-tech ecosystem. Also, this school will leverage on all the ecosystem of UM6P in terms of financing, in terms of VCs, like UM6P Venture or Bidra, or all the VCs that are developed by UM6P, especially that will be plugged to this digital farming school. We have also some programs in terms of media programs, like very successful program TV that is called Farm and Fortune TV show in Nigeria, where we learn and we explain to young people how to make money from farming, because if we want to attract young people in agriculture, they should know that they can have a good business by doing agriculture. So it's a different approach. And we have also some rural radio programs into the countries, and like also in Côte d'Ivoire and in other countries to push those young people to agriculture, to agri-tech, and to develop this innovation approach, especially for agriculture.
Thank you so much for your introduction and this inspirational examples of innovation leadership. I'd like to invite Amin Khalis to share more about your role. And
hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be with you. Thank you for this event, and thank you for the attendees. I understand there are many of them, so I hope all what we will be sharing will bring value to all of you. So I'm Amin Khalis. I'm part of the Talent and Organization Development team of OCP. So what is TOD, first of all? Because our chairman insists on not calling it HR. We are not HR. We are more focused at corporate level on talent development, talent growth, and learning behind. So while other, I would say, classic HR functions are already at the level of business units, etc., like payroll and admin, etc. So today, our focus at TOD is the development of talents through several programs that we are developing. And with my colleague Miriam, we will be sharing a few examples in today's call. So my role at TOD is I'm in charge of the integration office. So basically, we're connecting between the different programs through some common topics, such as development of processes, designing the programs, digital projects, doing also data analytics, doing workforce planning as well at corporate level. So these are part of the responsibilities of our integration office. So coming back to your question of how do I view innovation leadership, for me, I would say it's quite simple. It's for a big company, it's a do or die matter. It's a matter of do or die, because I'm having an industrial background. So and I worked for many years for an international company that is investing a lot on developing leadership with all its employees. And at that time, we were talking a lot about leadership 5Es and the need to envision, to engage, to empower, to enable, and to execute. Basically, today I would call that, it's still necessary, it's still important, but I would call it classic leadership. Today we need more of that, because our world is changing. Technology is advancing very fast. Today we hear every day about all the impressive developments of artificial intelligence. Today we have automation reaching levels we thought it would be science fiction just a few years ago. So the role of people is being somehow replaced. Technologies are advancing very fast. So today, for a group like us, like OCP, our main source of revenue is still fertilizers and phosphate-based fertilizers. So we can ask ourselves a very simple question: what happens if somebody in a lab somewhere in the world develops a product that can replace our phosphate-based fertilizers? So what would happen to us? So, and this happened, by the way, to some companies, very famous companies such as Kodak. We know all about the example of Kodak, and we have other examples. So if we don't invest in innovation leadership, if we don't go ourselves look for these new technologies and develop these new technologies and build these new technologies, we might simply lose our company. So this is why I'm calling it do or die. It's a matter of do or die. So it's important to have, all the 5Es, the enabling, the envisioning, etc. But directing the organizations toward innovation and taking very specific actions to go toward innovation and to involve everybody in innovation within the organization is key. Voila, and maybe in the coming questions, I will be able to develop a bit more this topic.
Definitely. Thank you for your introduction and insights. And I'd like to invite Miriam Benassous to share your role. Tell us about you and your thoughts on innovation leadership. Oh, your mic. I think there we go.
Hello, everyone. I am Miriam Benassous, and I head up our learning custom programs for OCP Group at a corporate level. In this role, I'm in charge of the development and delivery of a custom program, specifically a program designed to address our company's unique needs and challenges. Regarding your question, Karina, for me, innovation is obviously key for our success, right? So I see innovation leadership as fostering culture that really embraces new ideas and empowers employees. So through our custom programs, we try to cultivate this by providing opportunities for our employees to develop a critical thinking, learn about emerging trends, for example, new practices, and maybe try creative problem solving. Also, I think that innovation leadership for me is about building a whole environment where everyone feels encouraged to experiments. I mean, taking risks and learn from failures, which is maybe was not the case before. So for me, really, innovation leadership today is learning from failures, doing more and more, and once again, and this for me is innovation leadership, because we know how to do leadership, but this kind of learning from failure, taking experiments, and being this open-minded to do so is something new maybe for us. So
this is really nice for like the way our innovation leadership journey is evolving, and thank you for your perspective, Miriam. And so I'd like to invite Dr. Amin Belemli to share your insights and introduce your role.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Amin Belemli. I'm currently serving as a dean of faculty at Africa Business School in Rabat, in Morocco, and I'm also the head of the Leading Transformations in Africa Excellence Center. My expertise lies mostly in transformational change, open strategy and organization development, as well as multi-stakeholder collaboration settings or partnerships. Besides my role in academia, I have extensive experience in consulting on major transformations on strategic initiatives across Africa and Europe. So as the head of the LTA Center and related to our topic today, our role at the LTA Excellence Center is deeply rooted in fostering and facilitating complex transformations across the continent. So we really seek to develop actionable knowledge and hopefully becoming a pioneering institute dedicated to studying and supporting systemic changes that address the dynamic challenges that are faced by organizations and societies in Africa. So we really seek to create a hub that generates deep insights and practical solutions, methods, models through applied research, collaborative projects, and innovative methodologies. So yeah, overall, this is what I'm doing today.
Excellent, thank you. And I'd like to pass to the next question for each of you. In looking at what do you feel are the most important mindsets and related skills for developing innovation leaders in Africa? What are your perspectives? I mean, we can start with Amin again, or Amin Khalis.
Yeah, sure. Listen, in my opinion, at OCP, we talk a lot about ambidexterity and the ability to, as a manager, as a leader in the organization, to work both really at the same time on exploitation and exploration. So exploitation and exploration. This is what we call it, what our chairman calls ambidexterity. So we have a business to run, and this will not go away. So especially for an industrial company as OCP. But in parallel, the best people that are having the knowledge, the experience to go and look for new solutions, for developing new products, new services, new everything, are the people doing this exploitation. So instead of having this separation with a majority of people not doing exploration, not doing innovation work, and working only on exploitation, and a few dedicated people in the labs, in the R&D departments, working on defining the next big thing, I would say. The idea here is to involve everybody and to make sure that all the people working in the plants can contribute to this effort of exploration, and it cannot just be decided. It's a culture, it's a mindset, and it needs a lot of work. We have just started at OCP, but it needs a lot of work, a lot of intentionally dedicated programs, actions, learning programs to make sure progressively that this ambidextrosity is coming to life. Voila. So we have something else as well, I think, still talking about the mindset, which is what you call the digital mindset. This is also something we rely a lot on that at OCP. And when I talk about digital mindset, it's not just about the digital, the development of digital solutions, etc. What we learned about digital is that since over 30 years ago now, is that what we can call or what we can consider that it is impossible today will surely not be possible in the future. So the digital mindset is somehow removing all the barriers that we might find and just go and do the work and find the solution. And I think this is key also for innovation, because it's easy to say, no, this is not possible. We don't have this, we don't have that. So if we don't have this, and we call it again digital mindset, or we can call it also impossible is nothing, to take the slogan of a very famous company. So this is key to building this innovation leadership, and this is what we do at OCP. This is what we're trying to do, and we are intentional about that. It's just not slogans or things we repeat in our public cadre, etc. No. We are taking actions, TOD specifically. We are having the responsibility to act on the culture. And with my colleague Miriam, we'll be talking about a couple of programs that we are putting in place at OCP, with the help also of Dr. Benmlih with us today, and the whole ABS team, to make sure we are taking the right actions to have this, to build this mindset. Voila.
Great, thank you so much. Miriam, what are your thoughts on the mindset and related skills?
Yeah, I think that cultivating this innovation leaders or mindset is very important for Africa. I have many points here. For me, first thing for leaders in Africa, and I will talk not specifically for OCP, for Africa in general, is that, they need to be resilient. And why resilient for me is important, because I lived in other continents before, but specifically in Africa, things never or always, they never go as planned. So you really, really, really need to be resilient and have this mindset of it's not a problem. I will try something else. I will change my direction. And this is very important to run innovation in Africa. Things don't go as planned in Africa. Many things can just change. And I think that resilience and adaptability is, for me, skills that are very important to have. Also, I think that leaders in Africa needs to be aware of, I think, cultural diversity, because when we are in Africa, it's a big continent with many countries, and maybe Mehdi can talk more about this, as he lived in many countries in Africa. But the idea here is it's very rich, it's very different, and when we run, projects within Africa with many countries, we have to have this mindset, or to be as inclusive as we can, and aware of this diversity of cultures to succeed in our projects and what we want to do. The third point for me is the gender equality. It's something that is very, very close to my heart. And I think that to run innovation today in Africa, innovation leadership, I think that according to the McKinsey, today we have only 15% of senior management positions that are women's. And we need to run innovation in Africa, we need more women in leadership. Why? Because I think that diversity or gender equality can bring this new point of view or and unlock this untapped potential to bring this new or this innovation that we don't have or we lack of today. So I think that is, for me, it's one of the main points. Comparing to other continents, we are maybe a bit late on that in Africa. Also, I think for me, what is important is to bridge more and more strong network within Africa. When I say networks, African networks, 100%. That means that we can go beyond what we do today and that we will have more specific solutions and we can be maybe more impactful. So just to give an example, UM6P today, and Karina and Amin are representative of UM6P, but UM6P is playing a crucial role in this partnership that we can have across various sectors, that can be universities or other sectors like, for example, government, industries, etc., to facilitate these connections. So I think also that one of the main points for me today, our mindset, our skills, it's also that when we run innovations in Africa, we usually think like US citizen or like European citizen, or we are not really serving sometimes our communities, because sometimes we are we are bringing some ideas, and when we just try to put them in place in Africa, it doesn't work because many things are different. So for me, the leaders or innovation leaders need to have this in mind. People in Africa are different, communities are aiming for different things and different aspirations. So for me, we need to be aware of that in order to, when we do innovation, we need really to be the closest possible to what to people we serve in some point, and not just maybe think economically, but we need to have in mind the social impact of what we are doing on the communities and the ecosystem. So the mindset is maybe the most difficult we can have, but for me, it's really, really important. The mindset is hard to be changed. For me, the skills is maybe easier because it's something we can just skill, maybe upskill, reskill people on some skills. But for me, the mindsets take really, really, really much more time, but working on that, and I think that we will do a great job on that, specifically within OCP. But I mean, in Africa in general, leaders need at some point to think differently to make it happen in Africa, because sometimes we just copy paste some things. And for me, it doesn't work, because even if it's an innovation happening in USA or in Europe, if you just copy paste, sometimes it doesn't work because the mindset is different. The aspiration of people is different. So for me, if I have to keep one point in mind, is innovative leaders, please keep in mind the communities you serve that are sometimes different from other continents.
Thanks for this important points, Miriam. I'll pass quickly to Dr. Amin and your thoughts on mindsets and related skills.
Yeah, thank you, Karina. So mindsets are the heart and soul of what change is and transformation is. And innovation leaders, my conviction is that they're really instrumental in helping in cultivating favorable, positive conditions for change agency to occur, to flourish, related or tied to contextual settings, to cultural conditions. Miriam mentioned the importance of identity, of cultural adaptation when addressing innovation challenges or initiatives in Africa or in Morocco. So it is a bit of a challenge and also an amazing opportunity to focus on co-creation processes, co-created approaches. So the perspective I've been experiencing in the last 15 years, studying or advising innovation and transformation projects, is that more than leadership, I prefer the term stewardship. So being a steward is not it's beyond the command and control paradigm. So it's very much into how can I be a custodian of something that is here, that how to create favorable conditions for things to occur. For instance, if when we look at the challenges that Africa is facing, or Morocco, for instance, they are not technical problems. They're much more complex adaptive challenges, meaning that when you ask the question to, 5-10 people around the room on what the problem is, you will have 5 or 10 different answers. So how can you do a diagnostic of that? So this is why I've tried to develop more systemic and dialogic kind of approaches to these issues. What I mean by that is that by being systemic, so there is the importance of having a systems mindset, systems lens, is to learn how to look at things, at the phenomena, from a holistic perspective, and seeing the interconnectedness between the different social, cultural, institutional, relational, etc., name it, issues. And on top of the iceberg, you have like what is visible, artifacts, deliberate outcomes or objectives of a program. But the reality is that the bottom of the iceberg with the belief system, with the hidden agendas, the vested interests, are the core of the phenomena. So how do you create conditions for people to open up and how can you create positive emotion, conditions for positive emotions and positive experiences to occur? So by having a sort of appreciative mindset, instead of looking at the problems, but instead of that, looking at what is working well and that we want more of. I often start with that. So what is it that we already do, and we want more of that? And what would happen for the future if we track and fan these positive things? So and connect very concrete stories to the topic being discussed or the initiative being framed. So why? Because it's helping to have a sort of, how can I say that, embodied sense making. So it's not, mental things. The more we connect to stories, to emotions, to practical examples, and the more we can involve the people in the very process that is being framed. So yeah, so we're really focusing on, because when the best solution we found out is to invite people in a sort of open strategizing, open innovation kind of approach to co-design the approaches, the very approach itself. And here we don't look at resistance to change in the same way, because how do you resist something that you've participated in building? So we flip it. Yeah, so I can give examples later on.
Thank you. Thank you so much for these insights, Dr. Amin. And any last words or thoughts from Mehdi Filali?
Yes. Thank you, Karina. So you are making it very hard for me to speak after Amin, Mariam, and Dr. Amin, because they spoke almost about everything. But but I totally agree. I totally agree with what has been said. I think that I don't know if we should speak about innovative leaders in Africa. I think an innovative leader is an innovative leader, and it's the same qualities and skills that are needed to be an innovative leader. As I said, I think that in Africa we are quite good in terms of skills, in terms of let's say original skills, in terms of entrepreneurship and innovation. Yes, there is some countries that are more advanced than others. For example, if you take the number of startups that are created in some countries, you can find much more startups than in other, but it doesn't mean that you don't have innovative leaders in those countries where you don't create a lot of startups. It's sometimes because of the conditions are not there to support them in terms of financing, in terms of mentoring, in terms of support. So also the global, the conditions of to support those innovative leaders are very important, and they are fundamental to make them, exploit their potential, their full potential, and make it operational. On the ground. Also, I totally agree with Mariam that we should have high agility in today. We are in a world that is completely changing. We have a lot of disruptions in term of economy, and we cannot plan as long-term actions. We have to adapt each day, maybe our actions, our project, our plan, to take the opportunities. Because if we are just seeing a plan, working on a plan, we can miss a lot of opportunities that can be, just close to us, and we will not see them because we'll have like blanket and work just on focusing on this plan. So agility is key. As I said, access to this digital knowledge is very key, and it's crazy what we can do today with artificial intelligence. So our youth people should be able to use this to empower them to develop very innovative solutions, and they should have we should support them for that. And also because you can have some intrinsic I would say quality of entrepreneurship and of innovation, but the learning system also should be adapted, because if you have a learning system that is not encouraging innovation, you will have at the end of the day less innovative leaders than what you can have. So we have to include this innovative approach, this agility in our learning system from the beginning for the kids. And also, I also agree with Miriam about diversity. I think diversity is a key component of innovation, generally diversity. When you have a group with people from different backgrounds, with engineers, with, I would say, philosophers, with business, background, with, different kind of backgrounds. When you have also gender equity, when you have people from different origins, different countries, different regions inside the same country, this is very is empowering the innovation and the creation of this innovation and of those startups. So this is what I can share. And also I agree with Amin about ambidextry. Yes, ambidextry in our organizations for the leaders into the organization is key, because we should focus on improving our day-to-day performance in our core business, but we should not just focus on that. Otherwise, we will miss another, also a lot of opportunities for diversification and for preparing the future of our organizations.
Great. Thanks for these additional insights. I see that we are nearing the hour. We have about 13 minutes left, and I want to make sure we have time for audience questions. I had a question about examples or inspirational examples. I think that Mehdi Filali, Dr. Amin Belemlit shared some inspirational examples, but I know there's one example in particular that would be of interest to share. I know Miriam and Amin, that if you would like to share a quick example before we move to audience questions.
Yeah, I will go first, Karina. The example that we wanted to share is for us this example of leadership is something we are running now within OCP. It's an initiative called Le Mouvement, which was launched around 2016. And this Le Mouvement is about empowering our employees by giving them a safe and supportive space to explore new ideas. So, driven by the group's purpose and values, employees can form teams called what we call situations to come up with innovative ideas and can create value for the group and its ecosystem. So that means that any employee that have an idea can just join the movement and have dedicated between 20% of his time to 100% of the time dedicated to this idea. And what OCP do is support these teams, from the ideation to the impact phase, how? By giving them access to continuous learning. It can be access to experts, depending on the subject or the idea they are working on. They can have access to incubation platforms, great living spaces, specialized talent management that fits their needs. And also they have dedicated advisory teams, dedicated budget, and so on and so forth. I know that we don't have many times, but the idea is we have this channel for our employees to innovate, and they can have access to all this do that. I can take the question after, but for the time, but this is the idea. We wanted to share it with you, and I will let Amin maybe talk about the second one.
Yes, quickly. I know we want to get some Q&A going on. So in a couple of minutes, just so as Miriam shared, we have the movement, which is an extraordinary platform allowing people to dedicate 20% of their time to innovation. And actually, when we launched it in 2016, we had a small problem, which is this conflict between de-exploitation and exploration, basically. So they had their management bringing them to always back to full exploitation, and the priority is given somehow to the daily work. And all the innovation time, the 20% becomes 10%, and then it becomes 5%, and then 0. Not for everybody, but in many examples, we witnessed that. So with our chairman and the rest of the team, we came with a new initiatives, which is coming to protect the movement. We call it Leaders for Today and Tomorrow, and this is exactly an example of innovation leadership. Basically, we are offering on voluntary basis to all our managers, leaders at OCP who want to engage in this program, the possibility to access best-in-class learning, to access best-in-class working environments, to access frequent mobility opportunities, etc. But they commit in parallel into protecting the movement, into taking active actions to bridge between exploration and exploitation, and somehow they are the protectors of exploration. So, and it's not coming top down, it's voluntary. So they will volunteer to become leaders for today and tomorrow, what we call LFT Square, and come and protect the movement. So it's even more powerful because it's coming bottom up somehow from the people. So I can talk about this for 30 additional minutes, but I know we have to give some time for the questions. So I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thanks for these great examples, Miriam and Amin. And Rob, I'll leave it to you to facilitate the questions. I'm sure, I'll see we have lots of questions out there from the audience.
Yeah, we have some great questions. Thanks for your insights and reflections and provocations, our speakers as well. They're fantastic. I'm going to read out a question from Vasilis Stoica and our Dean of Faculty Affairs. Amin, I think I might put this to you first of all, because of your interest in multi-stakeholder partnerships and co-creation. So Vasilis Stoica is asking, what role do partnerships and collaborations play in driving innovation in Africa? And how can leaders effectively leverage these relationships to create sustainable impact? So I think in a way, I mean, you already said a bit about it, but maybe to elaborate your thoughts on that a little more.
Yeah, I will try to. So I can give some additional answers to that. One is through maybe the lens of facilitation. So I haven't given the example of a transformative facilitation project with the Ministry of Education in Morocco, but we have a good example that maybe gives some illustration to answer to the question. So there was a challenge in Morocco in transforming the educational system that suffers from a lot of burdens. Well, I'm not going to mention those, but there have been, like in the last decades, several top-down kind of approaches, policies and strategic initiatives, but they failed to bring the behavioral change, the cultural change on the ground at the regional level, at the provincial level, at school level. So last year or a year and a half ago, the Minister of Education came to Africa Business School and said, what could we do to develop change agents They were calling that change agents at that time. I said, change agents is something else. But how about promoting facilitation as a spirit, as a philosophy that fosters collaboration, that fosters relational kind of innovation, and forget for the beginning, forget the content, or forget the outcomes, because the problem with the outcome-based approaches is that they create distortions, because we design routes, or roadmaps to get to the outcomes, and at a certain point it gets lost in translation, because we are focused by the outcome and we lose sight of what is happening in the here and now, and what is emerging. So by focusing on collaboration, on managing productive tensions, so that's something else. Barbara Gray, that you might be familiar with, is talking about productive tensions of frames, because when we have multi-stakeholders, stakeholder collaborations, each one comes with his or her own framing view of how to approach the issue. So facilitators in this context create productive dialogues that supports tensions, but that are productive, not destructive. So I can elaborate more, but I'll stick to that.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely illustration. I mean, and I think I've seen it many times. The temptation to be so focused on outcomes often reduces anxieties when we're doing something new.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give regard to relationship building, which is often the foundation for actually doing things together. Let me read out another question. This is from Ole Tansgaard. Ole is one of our innovation leadership members. And speakers, maybe I won't direct it to someone, but maybe someone can put their hand up to give a first go at it. And Ole is asking, do you see differences between startup innovation and innovation in a corporate context? Do we notice any ways in which it's different?
Maybe, maybe quickly I'll try to answer. I'm not the expert on the matter, but actually, yes, corporations are usually less flexible. That's what the environment we can have in a startup. In corporate, we talk about specific roles for everybody. We have organizations with entities, head of entities, etc. While in a startup environment, we have what we call flow to work, with everybody contributing somehow to everything, and this is making productivity and reaching results. In fact, reaching results easier in startup environments. So what corporations are doing now, and it's the case also for OCP, is to isolate in some specific business areas, the people working on some very specific exploration topics. And we have, for example, a business unit dedicated to many exploration topics, such as development of new products, not necessarily related to phosphates, etc., in an environment of a startup. And by the way, for some examples, there are even subsidiaries totally independent from the corporates. It's only a capitalistic linkage. So I think, yes, the startup environment is much more suitable for innovation, but big corporations can create this environment by taking some steps in their operating model, some special actions in their operating model. Voilà. In short.
Yeah. And maybe, I mean, what you and Miriam were saying earlier on was an example of trying to cultivate that kind of experiment taking within boundaries where it's safe to get things wrong, right? It's a culture of and a mindset for experimentation within corporates.
Yeah, exactly. That was the point for the movement, and I think is doing innovation within corporates, but without having any boundaries. I mean, that's why called it exploration, because it's out of the system somehow, and people that are in the movement can do whatever they want without having the barriers that we can have within the corporate and within the system in general.
Yeah, no, it's lovely, Miriam. I know we could talk much more. Karina, I'm going to go back to you for a check on how we're doing for time.
Yeah, we are at the top of the hour, and so we are going to have to conclude, unfortunately, but it has been a very insightful and inspirational session, and I would like to thank our guest speakers, our esteemed guest speakers, for your contributions and perspectives around innovation leadership. I've been watching the comments too, and I can see the audience has really appreciated your stories and examples. So a big thank you to all of you, to Mehdi Filali, Amin Khalis, Miriam Banassous, and Dr. Amin Bellemli, and helping us transform and communicate this new vision of innovation leadership in Africa and how it's transforming the future. And to everyone, we have one more session. If you enjoyed this session, we would like to invite you to our next session in this series, which will be August 28th at 17 hours, Rabat, 18 hours CST, on optimizing collaborative innovation and co-creation. So we welcome you there, and thank you again for joining us in this inaugural session for innovation leadership in Africa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.